What's the weirdest non-sexual thing you and your partner do that nobody else knows about? Sometimes my wife will spontaneously grab my thigh and do this weird heavy breathing thing like she's having a panic. Other times she will throw a random object at me and do the heavy breathing. This came from a time when she got really scared and launched a spider at me. We turned it into a joke. We do it to each other now randomly. ... It scares the shit out of me 100% of the time. We get these super intense moments where we're side-eyeing each other and I'm just waiting for one of us to strike. Yarp and Narp have replaced yes and no in our marriage, thanks to Hot Fuzz. We will face each other and then use our thumbs to pull up, push down the space between each other's eyebrows to move the eyebrows and change the facial expressions. Lifting makes the person look really concerned and it cracks us up. I tickle my boyfriend and he makes incredibly weird noises while trying to resist a giggling fit. Lots of stupid impressions which he has a knack for. Every night we have a dramatic tournament at bedtime when he tries to throw his socks into our laundry basket from the bed. We also spank each other a lot while wearing pajamas and dressing gowns because it makes such a funny noise when there's so much padding on the butt. This behavior has only started happening since we moved into our own place together and it's been a delight. I've never laughed so much. Me and my girlfriend say beep boop and meet moot to each other if after a big fight and we want things to go back to normal or that we are sorry or something. It came from when we're in Bali a few years ago, can't exactly remember how, but YH. When we're taking a shower and we face away from each other, we push our butts together and move our hips back and forth in opposite directions so our buns make clapping noises. We can't shower without doing it. We have a noise that we make when moving things around the house. It's a low-pitched whoop that started out as a joke and now we do it subconsciously. Taking in groceries. Whoop. Moving food from the pan to the plate. Whoop. At this point it's become a problem, but we joke that we don't want to call an ambulance because it might trigger us. We enjoy pushing each other over on a bed. One of us gets on our hands and knees and we just push each other as hard as we can. 10 out of 10. Very fun to feel like a cow getting tipped. Kind of similar to this. My girlfriend lays on her back on the bed with her knees to her chest and I push down on her legs and bounce her up and down and it makes her laugh harder than she's ever laughed before. 10 out of 10. When we're cuddling I'll randomly get up and move to the other side of the couch. Say now to enjoy my personal space, which then causes her to climb on top of me and latch on like a damn spider monkey. All the while I'm jokingly screaming about how I'm not consenting and need help. We shower together and he washes my hair. After we're done, I firmly shake his cock and say nice doing business with you, sir. If we're both in the flat together but not actually talking to each other, we'll pretend we're video game NPCs. So I'll pass him in the kitchen and he'll suddenly bellow got their asses whipped like a NOVIGRAD whore or something. My husband tucks me in every night at bedtime. We've been married for more than 20 years. Every time the timer goes off on her iPhone we do this dance. No matter where we are in the flat we'll find each other and do the dance. Honestly it's become like muscle memory now. This one time it went off at work without her around and I subconsciously started dancing. For those who are wondering, the timer tune we have set is By the Seaside. Years ago there was a viral video of a kid barely awake saying Mernan instead of good morning. And ever since, that's how my husband and I greet each other every morning. I'm a bit of a weird guy and really early in the relationship I don't know what came over me, but I just wanted to touch her face. So I put my hand over her face. It was a bit odd obviously, but she wasn't weirded out. She thought it was cute and funny, so it became our thing. As a sign of affection we would just put our hands on each other's faces. We broke up because of long distance and I miss her a lot. Your arms weren't long enough. The part of our neighborhood we live in is tucked back and usually the only cars that come down the street are our neighbors. When we see a car we don't recognize, we bark like dogs at the window at it. I would honestly be hysterical if I was driving in a new neighborhood and saw people barking at me from their window. I would also leave immediately. My partner and I have this weird joke where if one of us jokingly challenges the other to a fight we respond with take your pants off. It is a variation of taking your shirt off to fight. Every single time when either me or my husband has to do a chore or a task that we don't want to do, we always mutter under our breath, "This is bullshit," in the same accent as Deacon from What We Do in the Shadows when he has to wash all the bloody dishes. Less weird. We've been greeting each other almost exclusively with "Hello" ever since that one internet meme. More weird. Sometimes we play dentist where one of us makes the other open their mouth, and the dentist carefully and methodically taps all the visible teeth before confirming, "Ah yes, these are teeth. Don't remember how that one started though lol." My partner is a completely different person around me. She is a highly successful professional and an expert in certain academic areas in our country, writes papers for institutes and gets TV and radio interviews constantly as her field is really big in the media right now. In most situations she is a very serious person that didn't laugh or let herself go. When we are alone together though she is like a teenager that never grew up. She can be hilarious, needy, talk in silly voices or phrases all day and is generally a very happy and vibrant person. I love that there's a whole secret side to her personality that no one else sees. She's actually super dependent on me but everyone assumes the opposite and I'm happy with that. When it's just the two of us, we rarely use each other's actual names. It's usually some form of the name Elliot, shortened to Els, and then prefaced with any letters that change it to mean description plus Els. Example, Krells, when the other is being a jerk, making 'em a crappy Els. We even sign cards, gifts, text messages etc. using these words. It's gotten to the point where the only time we use each other's actual names is around other people or if we are legit angry at each other. We called each other Elliot around our group of friends once and they all looked at us like we were crazies. It started once when she burnt herself cooking and held her finger out and said, "Ouch Elliot." Of course I responded with Elliot and touched her finger. All downhill from there. Whenever he wears his eye drops it would look as though he'd been tearing up, and so I would always ask him why he's crying and he'd dramatically reply with, "Because I love you so much." It sounds cringe but I would always feel so happy afterwards. I stroke his face repeatedly and whisper, "You have the most beautiful skin," with a heavy lisp. He does have really nice skin. For some reason, I like to make up nonsense words at random to make my wife giggle. One of the earliest ones was Hakacha. She reacted to this one particularly strongly for some reason, so for the past decade, I will bust it out randomly. I'll get close in bed like we're going to cuddle and softly whisper Hakacha in her ear, or I'll look deep into her eyes and say, "Hey, Hakacha." This usually results in a prolonged period of laughter for the both of us. I even forgot about it for a while after a particularly stressful period in our lives. She comes up to me one day and says, "Hey, you haven't Hakacha'd me for a while," and gave me the pouty lip. We pretend we're pillows sometimes, especially my husband who loves when I lay on him. He's a cuddler in general so I'll say, "Oh, my pillow has arrived," and lay a leg across him or lean on him or something and he will get all squeaky and happy. Happy pillow. When lying down in bed one of us will write a secret message on the other's back using their finger. We then have to guess the message. Safe to say a lot of hours have been wasted on wrong guesses due to poor handwriting skills. Sometimes when we kiss we blow air into each other's mouth so our cheeks puff up. Also, I sleep with socks on, don't judge me, and it's a ritual that he puts my socks on for me before bed. When I address my wife I call her any random word that pops into my head. "Hi bungee cord. How's it going? Tails." She has always answered to any word I come up with as if it's perfectly normal and she has never asked me why I do it. I've been with her for 19 years and she doesn't know that the reason I do it is because she is my everything. I'm hoping one day she decides to ask. This thread is wholesome as I used to stick my finger in his mouth when he was yawning. Then he did it to me once and made me realize I hated it and stopped altogether. My wife and I met when we were 12. We played tag at church one time and I was it when the game was finished. I went up to her a few days later. I was wearing a Lego Star Wars shirt and she was in a lime green tank top, which becomes important later. I just yell at her that I was still it and start chasing her down the church hallways, ending with a flying tackle into a pile of snow outside. So after that for a while every day we played tag whenever we saw each other. As we grew up the rules evolved a bit, so who is it can only be transferred once per day, and to signal that you're it I need to be wearing a Star Wars t-shirt and she wears a lime green tank top. We still play all the time. I'm currently separated from her by the military, but when I go back home I'm going to wear a Star Wars t-shirt and chase her through the airport like an idiot. My wife's family are on the whole good people, but have a tendency to either pontificate about things when they have control of the conversation, or not fully pay attention when you have control of the conversation. So when this happens we try to slip the word "panthole" into as many sentences as possible without them noticing. We've gotten up to 8 in a row without getting caught. You can walk behind our couch because of the open floor plan. My wife likes to catch me off guard and come up from behind and try to wrap her boobs around my ears and yell, "BOOBMUFFS." My husband likes to hide Lego minifigs in our home decor to see how long it takes for me to notice. Most recently, I was gifted an old dollhouse that my grandmother and I made as a child. The other day I just happened to walk by it, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a Storm Shadow G.I. Joe sitting in a rocking chair in the dollhouse. Apparently he's leveling up and I had no idea. After we hug and kiss goodbye we high-five. I don't know why or when it started, but it's just our thing. Sometimes when we both start laughing, one of us will open their mouth as wide as possible, and then the other will follow suit. So we're basically just sitting there with our mouths as big as they'll go, yelling ha 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 ha. I want a cat but my boyfriend doesn't, so now he pretends his hand is a cat as a substitute. His name is Hand Cat and has a Texas accent. We're English.